This is Irontrader. This is the last call of the day. So we're going to take a look here at Bitcoin, crude oil, natural gas, gold, and silver. And then we'll take a look here at the old indexes. We're also going to throw in that Ethereum, ETHU, and we'll see how that's all shaken out there today. Now, the indexes were up there quite a bit. Now it looks like the Dow is down. And so we're going to see how this is all going to finish at the end of the day. I have a little issue here with the old posting of support and resistance levels. The page just won't come up. So I guess I'll have to just skip that today. But remember, the API report will be out today at 4:30. And it looks like OPEC, it has their meeting this week, and they want to maybe dump more oil on the oil market. Okay, this video is for information purposes only, not a recommendation to buy, sell, stock, buy, ETF. Please like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Here we have Bitcoin daily and your weekly chart. Now let's take a little peek, see what's going on here. Okay, so now you can see here we have this downtrending situation, but now we're back above this 8-day, which is very, very nice. Now, BITX was a really good trader today. Got as low as 53.72 and high as 55.15. That's my really favorite, and that's my go-to trade now on the old Bitcoin. Another easy way to trade is IBIT, but the BITX is a 2-time leverage, and it gives you a little bit more juice. Okay, on the downside, this is what we're looking at. We got to hold this 111.994. That's going to be key. That is your 8 simple moving average. If we lose that, we'll come down to today's low at 111.150 level. Then we come down to the bottom of that candle. You're looking at 110.420. That's your next support level. And then we just venture down 109.590. We have 108.845, and we come down to the 108.20, and then we have yesterday's low of 107.790, but this is the key level right here at that 107.525, and that is your 100-day, which is holding very, very nicely. Now, you also look on the weekly chart. You can see here on this 21-day here at 108.310, holding very nice, but we're going to be attacking this 21-day if it keeps on rolling up, and then we have to see what happens at that 115.433 level, which is just above your 50-day and your 21-day. Now, again, it could be just like on this situation. We don't know. Now, what we had is we had this big red candle. We had a bear flag, and then boom, down she went. Now, it looks like we got a similar pattern, but again, if we can get back above that 113.390, that would negate it, and we're going to go higher. All right, so what we're looking for today is you had that 113.215, but this is what you're looking at, 113.330. That's going to be very, very key. And then we have that 50-day sitting at that 114.667 level, and then your 21-day at 155. 159, and then we're going to have that 8-day sitting right above that bad boy, 115.434. But remember, always watch this weekly chart. Very, very critical, just like we had on the closing basis here for the week here on your holding your 50-day. It's just as important to hold this 21-day and to get back above that 8-day. Now, we look at the RSI. We had the negative divergence, played out very, very nicely. And now we're sitting at 47, so we have plenty of room to run. I like this here. What's happening? This is, even though this shows momentum to the downside, you can see how that green is curling up, and we're at the bottom of the chart, which is always very, very good to take this bad boy higher. So, bottom line, just watch that 8-day. Very, very key on a closing basis, 111.998. If we lose that, we just follow the candles down. But this is your big target, 107.525. Upside, we got to crack above this key level here, this 113.390, and then we have your target, 114.667, and then your 155.159, your 21-day, and then we have that 8-day going on right there at that 115.431 level. So again, we're still on a descending chart going on here, but let's just see this. It looks like it has some potential if it can hold that 8-day simple moving average. Okay, let's take a look here at that Ethereum ETF, ETHU. Okay, now this is a leverage fund for Ethereum, ETHU, and this is the long side. You can also trade this short, but I just say this, take it on the long side. Right now, you can see here, so far for the week here, we're holding that key 8-day at 138.57, and that's always very, very positive, all right? So now we are back above this 21-day, which is very, very nice. So this 21, and we filled this gap. Okay, see how we had that gap? I pointed that out yesterday. 151.08 was the high. The gap, 153.76 was the fill. Now we filled that gap, so now we don't have to worry about that. Okay, very, very nice. Now, downside, you want to watch that 21-day. 151.31, that's going to be key. We lose that when we come to the bottom of this candle here at that 145.83 level. Then we come to the bottom there, 143.37, and then we'll look to yesterday's low at 140.64. Then we can venture all the way down here to your 136.91, and then we have Top of that candle right there, what you're looking for is 127.69. Then we have the gap, the fill, and then the 50-day. However, we're holding the 21-day, which is very, very nice. Now, upside, we want to look at today's high, 156.68, but this is the key level that you were looking for, is that 158.79. Now, you can see that 8-day is curling right back up again. We get above this key level, then we can start retesting those highs again, okay? So if we crack 158.79, then we're going to look to the bottom of that candle, 161.80, that's your next upside target. Come up there, 167.54, and we'll come up there, 171.40, and just venture right on 174.97 level. Then we have 175.80, and then we'll come up there sticky here at 183.18, and then we have 186.68, and then there's your big boy, 188.73. You crack that, and you're going to that 200 mark. Just that simple. But right now, we got a little ping pong action here between that 8-day, 158.76, and that 21-day. So you want to just trade this range till she's going to break up here or she's going to break on down. Now, what we have going on here, you're only sitting at 54. You got plenty of room to run. The green is below your red because we had that sell down off this double top situation. So right now here, this is actually looking here very good if we can get back above that 8-day. Now, the weekly here, as long as we hold this 8-day, you can see how the 8-day crossed the 21-day, the 50-day, and she's looking real, real nice here to maybe make a test of that 188.75. 73 level, we got to see how that all shakes out. Again, if you can crack above that level, well, then here's your next level is going to be right there at that 194.80, and then we can come on top of that. That can go all the way to 246, and then we have 251 level. But I would look here, if you crack that, go to that 200-day. It's like a psychological situation. You know what I'm saying? Then we got to see what the reaction is if it does get above that. Okay, let's take a look here at gold and silver. Okay, here we have gold, here we have silver. Now, gold is hanging right around that below 36.20. I think it was 36.16 this morning, something on that order. But now you can see it cracked up here. I took a little trade in the GLD. That was the key, was that watching that 36.20 level I gave it to you when we were down in this situation. Now you got to here at 36.40. So obviously your next level is going to be 36.50, and you could rally all the way up to 3,700. Very, very easy. Okay. So again, there's a lot of fear in the market. I always use that gold and silver, more like a fear kind of a situation. So again, I'm not a really big trader in the gold and silver. I think that's a special trader that actually kind of like does that. They just focus basically on those two items here, where I'm like a, crude oil, natural gas, gasoline, and then the Bitcoin, and especially then the Nasdaq. That's always very, very good trade to me. However, when I can see a trade going for long, you have this really nice upswing here. But remember, we're getting to an overbought situation, but your green is still over your red, which it looks like I could go higher. Now, just because we have an overbought, that doesn't mean it can't stay overbought, okay? So again, right now we have all green candles. We have no topping tail. So this tells me this is going to be going higher, and we're getting outside those price channels at that 36.02 level. See that, how we're getting outside there? And then Wise wants to pull in. Same way we here. We got outside, pull in, outside, pull in. Okay, and then we had right there, got outside, and then wants to pull in. So again, 36.40, this goes, I'm looking for 36.50 right now, and possibly that 3,700 on the old gold. Okay, now on the downside, well, obviously we want to watch yesterday's high. That's that 36.02 level, and then right here is this 35.34 level. Okay, and then we come down here to your 8-day at 34.92, 34.39, and then we have your 50-day at what do we got there at 33.90 level. But right now, this just looks like it's going higher. You got solid green candles, higher highs and higher lows. Look at that. She's a beaut, Clark, racing right up. Now, again, I don't hold this overnight. I just trade it there in a day, and I can see once we got a little bit higher on that, I just jump into GLD. I'm all out of the trade right now, and I'm going to wait and see what's going to happen. Now, if again, it always gives you a chance to get in, because look at these candles, okay? See what it came in, went. Look at all these candles there, okay? See? Came out halfway, rallied up, halfway, rallied up, halfway, rallied up. Just at a quarter way, rallied up. And even today, it came down below yesterday's low, and then we rallied up nicely, okay? So it always gives you a chance. Never figure like, oh, I'm going to miss a trade, I'm going to miss a trade. And if you do miss a trade, who gives a shit? There's always another trade, okay? The trades are like, I used to say girls, but the wife doesn't like that. There's always another one coming around. So now I say buses. You know what I'm saying? There's always another one coming around. Okay, here we had, I was told we were looking for that 42. Now you can see we've got above that 42. Yesterday we got as high as that 41.995. And today we popped up again to that 42, but we're sitting below that 42. That 42 level is going to be very, very key. If we can keep right on rolling, you're going to hit that 45, and then you're going to be pushing that 50 level, okay? SLV, there was a real nice trade. I'm all out of the trade today. I have no trade in either one of these, GLD or SLV. To me, it's just a day trade. Boom, gone, money in the pocket. See you later kind of situation. Now, we're going here again to an overbought situation. So Again, what you want to do is watch, obviously, is today's low at 41.46 level. Then we come to the top of that candle at 40.86. We'll come to the bottom there. You're looking at 40.55 level. And then we're going to be looking here right to the top of this candle. That's going to be key, at 39.91. And then we have your 39.91 exactly as your 8-day. And then we have your 21-day. And then we have your 50-day sitting at that 38.10 level. Okay. But right now, you're really outside those price channels. So realistically, eventually it's going to want to come in just like it did here. Okay. Just like it did here. Now, again, it could run up just like we've had here. But again, we got to see how this all going to shake out. But right now we have like an indecision candle. I was looking for that 42 area. We got just a little bit above it. And now we're sitting here sideways action. Okay, let's take a look here now at crude oil and natural gas. Here we have crude oil. Here we have natural gas. Now, you'd think that crude oil would be rallying today. Okay, Russia sent in 500 drone missiles into Ukraine. And now they're trying to fight them off. And crude goes down. Okay, so you just got to figure it out. However, the reason crude is going down is because OPEC has their meeting, and now they're considering even dumping more crude on the market, I should say. Crude oil on the market, I should say. Yeah. Originally, they're going to be 541,000 barrels per day. Now they could even bump that up even higher, and they're going to start dumping that in there in September here. So we got to see how that all shakes out. But again, you have to look at that. You have to look at that, the geopolitics that are going on, the Russia, the United States here. So again, I just think eventually oil is going to come back down into the 50 area by the end of the year. Right now, we just have a trading situation. Okay, so far today, we have, you got a red candle. It's still just an inside day, which basically your high and your low is the inside of yesterday's high and low. Now, we went yesterday, we went into that 50-day, popped above it. You notice it couldn't close. Same way with here, and now we're all the way to the bottom. So let's look at the downside first, because now we're trying to hold this 21-day. So 63.71, that's going to be very, very key on the downside. Then we look to yesterday's low, okay, at 63.66. Down there, 63.35, 295 will come down to the bottom there at 62.52, and then we have 61.83, and then your big retest at 61.45. Now, if we crack below this, say we crack below this 61.45 level, then this is going to be your big target right there. It's going to be that 59.74. Okay, and that's really what I'm looking for, is back in the 50s. Then we can crack down there. Okay, you got 57.74. Then we come all the way down to that 55.21. Now, I'm not saying that's where it's going to go, but I really think eventually this is going to just come off higher. Now, on the upside here, we have that 8-day 64.19 level, and then we have that 100 SMA sitting right there, 64.35. Then we can come up right here to the top of that candle. You're looking at 64.70. Then we have 65.10. Then we're looking for that 65.49, your 50-day. And then we have your 200-day above that at 67.31. Okay, so right now, we just have an inside candle, so let's not get too excited. We had a big red candle here, and then we rallied up. So again, this is all about data. That's why I love trading crude, because it's always in play. Okay, even when you don't think it's going to be in play. I thought for today, when I see those missiles launch everything, I'm looking at crude and I'm thinking, well, what the hell is going in the wrong direction? But, you know what I'm saying? That's how you trade it. Two-way, easy way to trade this is UCO for the long, SCO for the short. I jumped into short there today. Got a really nice, good trade going, and I'm still on the short side. So I'm going to see how this happens when it rolls out at 6 p.m. tonight when the futures open. I'll see how it goes. Now, crude oil, I have no problem holding overnight. And natural gas, I'll hold this as long as I can see where the patterns like to the upside kind of a situation. Now, it's really good trading in the UNG there today. I cut it loose. Now, UNG got as high today as at 13.21. I didn't get that. It got higher in the pre-market of 13.30. I sold it at 13.17 actually. Okay, I just put a trade in there. Sold at 13.17 from 12.40 on the UNG, and I had 5,000 shares. So that was a really good trade. Now I'm looking here to buy the natural gas up again. But let's just see how it all shakes out. So again, let's just take a look at the old natural gas. Okay, the reason I sold it is this right here. See how that candle went right up there? We had a high of what? Okay, 313. What we're looking for is 314. Okay, you can see the topping tail situation, and you can see that 50-day right above it. Now, for me, I have to say you have to get, if this pulls all the way back and holds that 21-day, holds that 8-day like it did yesterday, then that's a good buying opportunity here to take it back long. Or, again, if we crack above this 14, then I could jump in back along, take it to the 100-day, which is 331, and maybe even that 200-day at 314. Eventually, I think natural gas is going to go much higher. They're predicting a very, very cold, snowy winter, and that's going to take the natty gas high. Now I can see the leaves already turning. I can see the squirrels out there. I know it sounds a little crazy, but when I trade natural gas, and I've been doing this for decades, I always look at the squirrels and see what are they doing. Are they gathering up nuts? What are they going to do? That's how you can kind of determine what the kind of winter is going to be. It's kind of old school. An old guy taught me about that, and I think, man, maybe this guy is dead on. Maybe he's onto something here. So I've been doing it ever since. But again, always watch, get the many factors. You do that, you get the weather forecast. I go to naturalgas.com, and you can just see what the predictions are on what kind of season they're going to have. Okay. Now, again, on the downside here, what we're watching is going to be watching the top of that candle. That's that 302 level. And then we come down here today low at 296. And then we're really looking for that at 289, that 21 day, and that 8 day. Again, if it comes down to this area, then that would be, for me, it'd be a nice buying opportunity. Or if it cracks above that 50 day, that'd be another buying opportunity. So you can buy on strength, or you can buy on weakness. Okay, so either way. Now, I'm not trading this on the short side right now because right now we have this descending channel going on here, but we're back above that 8 day. The 8 day is curling up. So right now it's not, I always look at risk to reward kind of a situation. So downside, I'm just watching the 21 day and that 8 day. Okay, and you can see that 8 day creeping up. And that tells me this is a good buying. So if it does come down in the area, man, I'd be all in as long as it held it like it did yesterday. That was a good buying opportunity to take long. So I'll be trading against today's candle. And when those futures open at 6 p.m., 313 on the bottom, 296 on the bottom, 313 on the top. That's what I'll be trading against. I'll be watching that 50 day, okay, to maybe take this bad boy higher. Or again, if it just goes sideways, there could be some good trade action here between these simple moving averages and that 50 days. Nice ping pong action kind of going on here. So let's just see how it all shakes out. But always look risk to reward, okay? 54, that's looking okay. You got plenty of room to run. The green's over your red. You got plenty of room. It looks very, very bullish here. We can break that downtrend. That's the key, is get rid of this downtrend. But you got to really get above that 50 day, and then we can start ratcheting up here. But again, you got a good start above that 21 day and the 8 day. All right, let's take a look at the indexes. All right, here we go. We got the indexes going. Now, the Dow started off here, big rally going on, S&P, NASDAQ, all rallying up here over that Google news, okay? So they don't have to sell their Chrome, okay? They don't have to do this. And so that was actually rallying up here pretty nice. Now, Apple is still up in up mode. Google still got a good rally going on there. So we got to see how it all shakes out here. Netflix up a little bit here. And but let's see, Microsoft is selling off, Amazon selling off. The TQQ, I'm already out of that trade. It got as high as 89.87. I didn't get that. I got 89.50 out of it. I'm very happy with that from yesterday because I was in there at 84.50. So that was a good trade right there here on the OTQQ. And NVIDIA is coming off a little bit here, but my old Bitcoin, that's still hanging in there. But I traded BITX there today twice, so that was a really good trade also. Okay, so I'm long the BITX, but I also trade it every day for cash flow. All right, so we look at here at the Dow, and I can see here we had a nice good run up. But what we're there, we have this red candle. So we really want to watch is that 44 ANA, that 21 day. We want to watch this 50 SMA here. That's going to be key. And then we want to watch the bottom of that candle, 43,340 level. And then we want to watch the 200 day, and then we want to watch the 100 day. Then we have that gap and fill. But right now, it needs to crack above that 8 day, 45,431. In order to test that 45,757, and then we can see what the reaction is. Does it blast through there and hit 46,000, or does she just go sideways, double top, and come down, or do we lose this 21 day and then she just comes flying down? So a little bit patient. We've got negative divergence going on here, same way here, and the green is over your red. So just be a little careful, trade the market. All right, S&P. Now, you had a nice, good bottoming tail yesterday. Popped right on up here, but where did it go? Boom, right into the 8 day. Okay, boom, simple shit. Look at that. Okay, so this is what you're looking at the top side, 64.56. You get above that, you'll come right to the top of that, 64.81, and then 65.08. Very, very simple. Downside, we got to watch this 21 days. So far, it's holding at 64.21. If not, we come to the bottom of that candle, 63.84. We look to yesterday's low, 63.60, and then we have your 50 day right there. So then we got to see what the reaction is once it does get there. We have negative divergence going here. The green is below your red. It shows momentum to the downside. So again, just be a little bit careful on the S&P. Now, here we have the NASDAQ. It's all about the Google today, okay? And I told you about the Google. You got a big short squeeze going. A lot of people were short the stock. I was thinking Google's really getting their act together, and that's all they needed to do is get this lawsuit. pretty much on their side. The big thing is he's already negated. So again, I think Google's any kind of a pullback. I think Google's a really good buying opportunity. I wouldn't buy it up here. I would just wait, because when you gap up something, it always eventually will fill that gap. All right. So here we are here with the old NASDAQ. So you can see we had a nice good pop and drop kind of a situation. So upside, you're watching right there, 21,429 to 21 day, 21,489. That's your 8 day. And then we look at today's high at 21,553. And then we just venture right on up here till we hit that 21,803. But right now, it looks like we have a double top situation and we're coming on down. Downside here, basically, we're just watching that 50 day. That's going to be very key. Then we come to the bottom of that candle at that 2560 level. Then you have your 100 day, 200 day. We have the gap and fill. Same old shit, okay? And then right here, what we got here, we got negative divergence. Your green below your red shows momentum to the downside, but this is nowhere near oversold, and nowhere near oversold here. So just be cautious this time. Use for me, this was the buy and hold all the way on up. Okay, so what I do when I get to a situation like this is I buy a huge chunk, okay? When I see this and I see all these oversold conditions, okay? That's what I do. I buy the old, buy that, okay? So let me just put all the charts right up there for you, okay? So you can see how it got oversold, okay? Oversold. That's your buying opportunity. Take long. Buy 5, 10, 20,000 shares, whatever you got to do, okay? As it goes up, then I buy more shares just for trading. Every day you trade it. As this gets on up here, this is just a simple trader's market. Okay, that's it. You relieve all these shares when you get up in this area and you just take it off the table and then you just trade this market and wait for a good pullback. You're at nosebleed sections and just look at these charts. This is all negative divergence going on here. So just be very, very patient, okay? So today the Dow is up, ripping up nice. Now you're down 218. The NASDAQ is still holding in at 115, but the S&P is only up about 5. So just be very, very patient with this. I can't stress it enough here because the last thing you want to do is lose money. Let me tell you something. It's not a good look for you. All right. I'll be back here tomorrow morning. And I apologize. I don't have the numbers for you, but the old page would not come up today. I don't know what the hell's going on with it, but I'll try again tomorrow and we'll see how that all shakes out. Remember, trade what's in front of you, not what you want.